last thing I would say is lead with why, right? I think that's hopefully that's been the message this whole time, and that's kind of the big takeaway for anything, pretty much, right? When students apply to summer programs, scholarships, us, even afterwards, right? Trying to get an internship later on, trying to do impress on your job interview and stuff. The what's we live in a world where the what's can be very so commoditized that like everyone does the same things nowadays. So what makes you truly different is your why. So as long as you approach everything with the why intention first, why am I doing this? Why is this important to me?
All right, there we go. Welcome back to the Pizza King podcast. I'm your host, Tyrell, joined by special guest, Coach Tony Lee from Eagle Lock out on the West Coast. He helps families get their students into college. I can't think of more important service as I got my, you guys know I got my oldest is headed into high school. So these are conversations that I need to start thinking about right now because I imagine he's probably going to tell us we need to start sooner than we think. Not knowing anything about what's going on there now, but in my mind, I'm thinking we probably need to start preparing now. So welcome to the podcast, Coach Tony. I'll say hello to the Pizza community.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. Coach Tony here. Super, super excited to be here. Should be a fun conversation today.
Yeah.
For sure.
Tell us about Eagle Lock and how you got started helping
Yeah.
families.
For sure, for sure. So I think my story is probably not the most traditional story, I would say also. So me growing up, I grew up in a family of immigrants. As well too. My parents escaped the Vietnam War, came to California. I grew up, that kind of thing. My parents told me to go to college, but they never understood how to go to college because they themselves never went to college either. So it was a lot of trial and error and kind of just a lot of research of my day. Back then we didn't have ChatGPT and all these tools to help us. So it was just kind of talking to people, trying to understand old school library, trying to figure out different things. And then, so I kind of navigated this process myself. I did quite well. I got into over 30 colleges and I got a full ride to UC Irvine, UCLA. My parents were super, super excited. I live next to Disneyland, so in SoCal area. So I'm like, so the UCLA was perfect. It was close to home and full ride. So our parents thought that was perfect for me. I actually turned that down to go to Berkeley because I actually want to get away from my parents. What was that? That was the reality. Not a full ride to Berkeley, but took out loans under my name as well too. And then the rest is kind of history as well too. Went there, and then kind of how my start in this whole industry because it's very like, you don't go to school to become a college admissions coach. That's not really a thing. Maybe some people do, but definitely not my path.
That wasn't on your vision board in high
That
school?
wasn't for me. I always want to be a math teacher. I had really amazing math teachers in high school, so I always respected them. Like, hey, I want to help others. As a high school student, I was a tutor, so loving helping students with the math stuff. So I'm gonna go to school to be a math teacher, and then so I went to Berkeley. And then the reason why I actually went to Berkeley, so a little story there is that when I was deciding between UCLA and the other schools, a group from Berkeley reached out to me and say, hey, how about we fly you out to Berkeley for a weekend? Expenses, we cover everything for you. You just gotta come and experience the school. And then that's what made me say yes, because I fell in love with the school, fell in love with the people of the school. So my first thing is, hey, let me go find that group, say thank you, because without them, I wouldn't be here where I'm at. And I went there, they bamboozled me into meetings, and then long story short, I found they worked with the Office of Undergraduate Admission. This is what they do. They help students with the college admissions process. So pretty much all throughout college, I get bamboozled into that space as well too. So I was helping Office of Undergraduate recruitment events, outreach events, yield events, tons of really admissions related things. So by the time I graduated, all my friends worked there. So they're like, hey, do you want to be a reader with us? I was like, sure. So what readers do, they're behind the scenes. They help read. They recommend yes or no to students. So I did that, read over 10,000 applications during my time. And doing so, you start to see trends, right? Hey, here's what makes a yes a yes. Here's what makes a no a no. And so I was on the front end talking to students about going to college. Now I'm seeing the back end. Oh, this is what's really important to get students in or not as well too. So I was able to kind of tie both of those kind of elements together. I'm like, let me teach students what really goes on. So that's kind of, I would say that's our approach. People always ask what makes you different than other people. Like most people they teach how to stand out. That's kind of the counselors teach that. Because again, it makes sense. If you're number one, you're good to go. But for us, we work primarily with a lot of California families. And I always tell families in California, it's like impossible to stand out because everyone around you is smart. Everyone around you is doing great things as well too. So can you win the game? You can just be number one. But to be number one is really, really tough to do. So for us, our goal is how do we help you give the readers what they're trained to look for? They're looking for A, B, and C. Just give them A, B, and C. Don't try to throw in D and F and all these other extra elements that they don't need to know. Is the key there. So that's kind of our approach, giving the reader exactly that. And then, but for me though, it still wasn't a career thing. It was like, oh, I did it. My dad referred me, hey, can you help my friend with this? I was like, yeah. So I helped them every once in a while with this. My whole adult life, I was always involved in education though. So I got to work as a reader. I worked at a test prep company for I ran their high school. It's a global thing. I opened my own high school. That was pretty cool as well. I got to open my own high
Whoa,
school.
whoa! We can't
Yeah.
just go. What do you mean you open your own high school?
I co-founded a charter school, so it's a unique high school model. So charter school is like public school with like possible private money as well too, right? To get up and running. So our charter school is pretty cool. It's me kind of under. It was like the culmination at that point of like what I've learned, right? One of the big things admissions like, hey, they're looking for the rigor of your classes, like taking difficult classes because you take difficult classes, it shows the readers, hey, you can handle the workload. And then so AP, you probably hear AP classes, probably the most broad sense of like the most rigorous honors and APs and like IB for certain schools. But there's another type out there called dual enrollment, which as a high school student, you can actually take college classes at like local junior college or community college as well too. The classes are half a semester, so it's a half a year, one semester long, but on paper it counts as a full year AP. So why? So I tell students, wait, why do the
Interesting.
full year when you can do it in half the time? And the college classes, you don't have to pass the AP exam; you just automatically get the college credit. So I'm like, huh. So the whole model of our high school is that we dual enroll you at the college the entire time, or as much as we can at the college. So you're double dipping requirements. You're hitting your college classes and your high school credits at the same time. So the cool thing is our students who graduate from the high school, you have like 1 or 2 years of college credits done. You still applies the first year, means you're guaranteed to stay. If you want to stay all 4 years, you could slow down. But then because you can graduate early, you can double major a lot easier, or you can truly just graduate early. If you want to graduate early, one
Yeah,
or 2 years earlier, I just save parents what 60,000 tuition payments as well too. So it's a pretty cool approach there. Did that. I got to be a director at UCLA. I opened my own childcare at one point as well too. Did that for a bit, and then pandemic was when this all or it started from TikTok. I think I jumped on TikTok pretty early as well too. My friend told me, "Hey, you have the vibe for TikTok. Go do it." So I jumped on, started recording videos. I think number seven blew up. Number seven was the one that hit like a million or something, right? And
what was
then
it about? What were your early TikTok videos about?
it was all just college admission stuff. Like for me, I was like, I'm not a great dancer. So when I was all dance videos, I'm like, let me just do like the trends of like the pointing trends and all these like simple things, but just teaching college admissions, right? Like here, did you know there's 23 Cal states? Here are the 23 Cal, boom, 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 and here's this, and here's the cost of this. So all these kind of fun facts, I would say, like think about those fun facts about college admissions. So I did that, and it blew up, and then ever since then, it started getting really, really high. So I actually became TikTok's first college admissions partner with them as well too. That was pretty cool
That's
for a
pretty
little
cool.
bit. And then, but the issue for me, that I'm like, hey, I have this big audience. Why can't I make money? So for me, it was really, really hard to figure out the money side of it as well too. And I think that one of my key lessons of success is mentorship, like just having people be there for you and like giving you feedback. People have been there, done that. And then so I met this guy. He told me, "Hey, you're talking to the wrong audience. Kids have no money. Talk to their parents. Their parents have money." I was like, oh, duh. That's very logical as well too. So then we shifted from TikTok over to a Facebook group. That's when things went crazy because because right away I just redid everything I just taught, but in a different format as well too. And now we target parents of high school kids. Watch this, that, and then that's when we started growing, and we're doing quite well today. So yeah, I think we have over 1,000 students currently working with us. So
That's incredible. I like the idea of, working with a coach and a mentor to help you understand what you're missing, right? Because without that, it doesn't give you the ability to pivot and find
hmm
your real target audience. And I think that, in our business, we could also learn a lot from that. Sometimes we're speaking the wrong message to the wrong audience or the right message to the wrong audience. What were people wasting the most time doing early on? Like when you decided like, okay, this is what I want to go after. I really want to help folks. You said something early that the readers don't care about this. What were some of those things
hmm
that the readers just really overlooked or didn't care about, and people really waste a lot of time, trying to
Yeah,
make it
for
look
sure,
pretty?
for sure. Yeah, I think it's the way people think or approach the admissions process, right? So like, here's a quick like things that we teach. Number one, we always say GPA is just a number. Don't worry so much about people always try to optimize for the GPA, try to make it higher and higher and higher. And I'm like, Well, let's take the flip side. If GPA was that important, then only the 4.8 kids would get in. But clearly they get rejected too. So it's not the GPA number. And then some people focus too much on grades. Right? Coming from an Asian background, right? People says B's are bad as well too, right? B's are fine. B's are not bad in the world of admissions. Again, as long as you have a lot of A's to counter with, especially if our students are aiming for like the more competitive schools too, right? So A's and B's, we have kids with A's and B's. They go to the Ivies too. So it's not like a game changer if you have a B there. But the thing that I would say focus on is the rigor, which is like again the AP level courses, the dual enrollment, the IBs. The reason why is readers want to know, can you handle the workload? Colleges have tutoring centers. If you're not doing well, they'll help you tutor you to get you up. But what they don't want is, let's say you come in and you realize, oh man, this school is hard, and you get kicked out, you drop out. No one wins. You lose, your parents lose, the school loses tuition money. So like it's a lose situation for everyone is the key. So that's number one, for example. Number two, activities. A misconception here a lot is doing impressive things, right? Oh, let me do that fancy summer program, do that fancy internship. These kind of buzzwords you hear a lot, research and stuff. Can you do it? You can. I think when I was reading and I saw a student do research for the first time, I was very impressed. Like, holy moly, there's like 15, 16-year-old doing research. Wow. Now every other student's doing research now. So when it comes to like it's not as impressive as it used to be with a lot of these things. So people focus try to stand out. When I tell students, there's kind of two buckets you want to fill up. The first one is taste your major. Show me that you're interested in your major, whatever it is. If you're interested in engineering, do engineering stuff. If you're interested in English, show me English stuff that you're doing in your activities. And the second half, which is also important, is personal interest. Because if all you give me was engineering stuff, you look like every other engineer. But if you told me I'm an engineer who also plays soccer, I also crochet, I also run track and field and all these different other things, that makes you a human. That makes you unique by definition as well too. So that's the activities. And the big make it or break it factor, I would say, is the essay. That's where you hear stories of kids who are really smart, really active, but they still get rejected. It's
Hmm.
not because they weren't smart enough or good enough either. It's usually because they don't know how to talk about themselves in the essay. But the biggest issue is people focus a lot on, here's what I did, right? I got to play soccer, I scored the goal, the end as well too, right? Which is a story. Again, how many other kids can say the exact same story of that?
Right. I
A lot.
understand.
So as a reader, I'm trying to understand the student, not the thing. Because again, here's another frame about it. You're talking about soccer now, but you might drop soccer when you go to college, which is normal. Nothing wrong with that. That's how life is, right? You drop it, you do different things.
But who are you
So I
beyond that?
know exactly. So for me, is knowing that soccer might not stay forever. Who are you as a student as well? Just like with like one, this is an exact example. 2 years ago, one of our students said, so they talked about the soccer story, and that, and we asked her like, "Hey, why was that so important to her?" And she was like, "Oh, because my friends trusted me with the final shot to win the game." I asked her, "Why was that so important to you?" And we kept poking at it, and you find out growing up that she grew up as an only child, or as the youngest child of the family. She was the baby. Everyone always took care of her. But in that moment, it flipped. She now took care of her team. So it taught her leadership, responsibility. That's what I'm trying to understand, not the soccer star. Some people talk about soccer. It's her growth as a leader as well, too. That's
I
what we
love
focus
that.
on the essay. So that's those are also the three pillars of like the process. You hit those three, you should be good for the most time. I think people overcomplicate the process too much. I'm like, no, those are pretty much the big core three for us.
Well, you spoke on showing interest in your major early on. How do you
Mhm.
advise kids who don't know, what they want to do or which direction they like to go in?
100%. And then I think that's a very valid comment too. I always tell parents like when you were 13 and 14, did you know what you want to do? I'm like, no, parents like, no, none of us knew. So I'm like, it's unrealistic to expect our kids to know as well too, right?
Yeah.
So what I would say is don't feel like they have to know. But what I tell families, treat high school as like a pathway, right? Here, what pathway are we leaning towards? If the student has absolutely no clue at all, we approach it pretty systematically. There's like six I call them six pathways out there in the order of engineering, computer science, sciences, business, humanities, and arts. Not saying that's harder, easier in any order, but we put in this order because there's the most requirements. Again, for us, we like to approach this process very strategically, very easy.
Hmm.
Students are already very stressed out. I'm trying to reduce as much stress as I can. So how do we approach it without having to like double dip work? So if you have no clue at all and you're open to engineering, right? Let's start there. It's kind of what I say first, right? Because you start there, the reason why it has the most requirements to hit. That's the thing. And then if little Johnny's like, hey, I don't want to do engineering, cool, let's move you down to computer science. I don't want to do that, moving down to science. Because it's much easier to go from engineering to, let's say, science than science to engineering. That's our logic as well too over there. So you should again, I call it I use the word tasting your major on purpose because again, you don't know. One of the cool stories I can share. One of our students, she works with us. She's graduated this past year. She started as a ninth grader. As a ninth grader, she was a computer science student as well too. So all she did was computer science coding stuff as well too. And then 10th grade, she came back to us like, hey, I want to also add business. I'm also interested in business. I'm like, cool. So her activities were computer science and business all throughout the 10th grade. And I think by April or May, she's like, hey, so I don't like computer science anymore. Like I've been doing it for a year and a half. I'm kind of sick of it. I'm not like my friends. They can tell you they really like it. I'm just doing the motions. I don't really like it as much as business. I'm like, cool, let's drop it then. So we dropped computer science from her schedule as well too. And then over summer, her mom helped her get like an internship with a healthcare company. And then so 11th grade, she came back to us like, hey, can I add healthcare to my profile? Like, yeah, go for it. So we did. So again, 11th grade, and she stuck with that. So 11th, 12th grade was all business and healthcare activities that she did as well too. And today she's actually a first year over at UPenn, one of the Ivies, as a double major, as a nursing and business from Wharton, which is the number one business school in the world as well too, which is pretty cool because when you look at her story as ninth grader, the ninth grader her and her today look like two different people as
She has
well
a
too,
story.
right? But the story, that's what we're trying to understand. Like, how do you get to where you're at today? That's what they're really trying to understand is the key here.
And I'm assuming that if someone's working with you throughout that entire time, you're giving them, the tools and the skills to in turn articulate that story when it comes time for
Mhm.
an interview beyond the reading, right?
100%. I think for us, that's why we always say that we're coaches, not consultants or counselors. Nothing against coaches and counselors, but I think for me, I'd rather it's the analogy of what teach them how to fish versus giving them the fish, as well too,
Right.
right? Let me teach a student how. I hope I'm not stuck with you all our life and like coaching forever as well too. Our goal is to set you up so when you go to college, you can understand how we think and how we approach different things as well too. A lot of our coaching calls, we never tell students do this as well. Rare when we say do this, but it's more like, hey, what do you think? As a coach, we know where we need them to get to like this destination, so we need to guide their thinking to get there as well too, so they can see the aha for themselves. And I think the coolest part of working this role is senior year when we work on the essays. I mentioned like again from the soccer story to understand that you're a leader, your growth in leadership as well too. That's a big aha for a lot of students because they never think that deeply ever, right? You never talk about yourself. You're taught to talk about other people
Hmm.
as well too. So when I tell students like I don't care about other people, I just care about you, and it's like a big shock for them because most students again in school, it's like a school thing. Schools essays never use I, me, mine, any essay, right? Was what high school teachers say. For me, I'm like, you only want to put I, me, mine every college essay. That's all they care about. I don't care about other people is the key as well too. So yeah, so it's that journey of self discovery that's really cool for us to see as well.
Do you encourage parents to get their high schooler signed up as early as possible?
For me, yes. Like the selfish answer is yes, right? I think one good there's two good analogies I can think of. One is like the planting a tree, right? When was the best time? It's always yesterday. The next best time is today. Because the sooner you start, the more you can get things on track, right? It's easier to keep the still on track and coast rather than play catch up as well too is kind of the key because if not it becomes really stressful for if they're not where they need to be. Again, to be fair, if students are where they need to be, it's whatever timeline they're in is the key. But usually for a lot of families that we work with, this is their first time navigating through a process. Parents didn't go through the US college system. It's been a while since they went through as well too. So it's really challenging for them to kind of figure out. And plus, like you hear a lot of noise, right? From other parents, from your school, from other things as well too, that like mess up. Should I do this? Should I do that? For us, from our program point of view, we don't charge different prices. I think that's kind of one of our unique things about our company is that most companies charge per year, which makes sense from a logistics point of view. But for me, selfishly, I do want families to start sooner with us. And I've learned that our eighth and ninth graders are just so much easier to work with than
Okay.
our juniors who jump in and they're really behind as well too. So it ends up being pretty much the same amount of work if you think about the two different versions of work there. So for
Understood.
us, at least with our program, we kind of incentivize that by same pricing, whether you start with us in eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, same price for all the grades for us.
I like that. That's a simpler approach to at least from a pricing perspective. You also create a lot of content, and I see that you have a big presence
Correct.
on YouTube, and you do a lot of
Hmm.
teaching, and I mean, you
Yes.
really give away a lot of information. How do you balance how much you give away versus how much you reserve for, your mentorship?
That's a great question. I think we have a very unique angle on this specific topic. I'm a fan of I give everything away. Like I don't hold literally nothing back. I thought I did at the beginning of like, oh, let me hide this best tactic that we have. If you look at the YouTube now, as of today, we have like 800 step-by-step videos. Not even like, here's a high level, make sure you get this done. It's like, no, you want to get an internship? Here's our 5 steps. Step one, here's this. Here's a template for you to use right away. So I'm a fan of giving everything away. I think for me, it's kind of my personal mission and personal core. Like for me, I grew up low income. My parents could not afford our coaching programs at all, as well too, right? So for me, when I kind of went on to like help build Eagle Lock as well too, one of our core things has always been how do we be accessible again with the lifetime pricing with this stuff? How do we be as accessible as we can with families? There's always gonna be families that can't afford our stuff. So for me, is how do we still help them is the key as well. And for me, like again, every April we get our students to get accepted, which is always very fun, which is always very nice as well too. But the emails that I also really enjoy getting is every April you get an email once or twice a week that's like, hey, Coach Tony, we jumped on the call like 3 years. I don't know you remember me, but I couldn't afford the programs. And then, but you told me to go on YouTube. I literally watched every YouTube, I downloaded all the workbooks. I did every single thing, every free training you hosted. I came to all. My kid gone to Berkeley, my kid gone to LA, my kid gone to Ivy's. And for me, that's the coolest email as
Yeah.
well too. So I was able to do those as well too. So for me, our whole thing is give everything away. Because again, don't think it hurts us. I think the families who join our paid programs, they're not in it for the information. Like I was talking, like you can Google everything now. You can chat GPT nowadays with everything as well too. For us, is the paid program is more for the accountability. Right, it's the not having parents be the naggers as well too anymore. We call it accountability, not nagging, right? We hold the students on track. We make sure they're doing the right things the whole way. That's what you're really paying for, right, with the coaching program. But information, I'm a fan of information is free. It can be accessible, right? And if so, families want to just dig through the videos and go through it, feel be my guest as well. Everything's in there as well too. We're even doubling down on more more content, more stuff like that this upcoming year, which I'm super excited for as well too. I have strong conviction on just give everything away. And then I think for us on the flip side, I always joke that I'm not super salesy is a thing. So I'm a terrible salesperson. So for me, I'm like the when families jump to us, it's very easy. It's like, hey, I've watched like 10 hours of stuff. I'm convinced. I don't need like more stuff as well too. So it becomes less of a sales call. It's more like, cool, here's how we work. It doesn't work. It's a budget. Doesn't work. Awesome. Let's get started. So it's very simple. Again, it kind of helped us shift how we sell a little bit
Yeah.
as well too. It works really well for us as
I
that
think the
way.
content pre-qualifies anyone before they jump on the call.
Hmm.
They know they need to be ready before they even come to that point, or just stay here on YouTube.
Correct.
I like that. So, in
Exactly.
taking the place of the parent when it comes, not taking the place of the parent when it comes to accountability, but being in support of the parent when it comes to
Correct.
accountability, how do you hold those standards without, crushing the motivation of the kid and, losing a client over it?
Yeah, 100%. No, I think our coaches are phenomenal at this part as well too. I think a lot of families come to us for the accountability, keeping us students on track. We're also our goal is not to add more work to the students too. A lot of people are like, oh no, we're gonna add more work. No, our goal is not to add more work to the students. Our goal is to help. How do we? How do we? How do we? Again, not replace. I think supplement is probably the best word to say. How do we supplement as well to a lot of things? So we do loop parents again if let's say the student's not talking to us, we loop like what happens once or twice a year. We just have to loop a parent. Hey, Johnny's not responding to his messages as well too is the key. But I think for a lot of our students, I think that's why for us the coach match is really important to us as well too. Our goal is to find a coach early on for the student that stays with them the whole journey, whether 1, 2, 3, 4 years with them. And because of that, they'll be able to build that bond with that trusted person as well. That's not mom or dad. I think that's probably the biggest. I think for me, reflected back for myself, whenever a teacher told me advice, boom, easy. Like, of course, that makes sense, and I go with it. If my parents told me the exact same words, though, I kind of zone it out because it's my parents is the key as well too. So, yeah, so I think what we do again is it's a mix of not to add too much overwhelm, but we're always available as well. So that's kind of how the program is structured. Of like, here you can we check in on a weekly basis to make sure things are good. We also help you guys figure out what you need to be doing. We're available daily for students daily support via chat or group calls every single day. I have a call every week. So I'm not like just doing these calls all day and then I'm in the program as well too. So because for me it's fun. It's fun. I do miss the coaching. If I remember one time I was too far away. I'm like, hey, I want to be still be in the know and hang out with students that way too. So I still have a coaching call every week with our families as well too. So
Very
yeah,
cool.
I think it's understand the balance, right? And for every family, it's a little different. Some families want more frequent touch points. Some families want less because they don't need that much. So it's just kind of meeting families where they're at. Yeah, we have, so that's kind of our like our flagship, our white glove service, right? We have a weekly level calls on that way as well too. Some families like that, especially like if parents know their kids need to be held accountable on like a weekly basis, like hey, let's check in as well too. Sometimes the calls are not long as well too. So it's like, hey, just a quick, hey, how you going? And instead of like, because our normal cadence is like once a month. I think once a month is for 80%, like I think 85% of our families do a once a month cadence, which is perfect for most families as well too. But it's like, hey Tyrell, here's your goals, here's your 5 action steps or your 3 action steps for this month. Versus for the weekly, it's like, hey Tyrell, here's one thing to do by next week. Here's one thing. So it's a little different there as well too. Every family is a little different and kind of what they're looking for.
How do you continuously train the coaches? Because obviously you've got
Mhm.
all of this knowledge and experience,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you also have to bring a team of people up to speed in order to help
100%.
folks in the same way. How do you manage that part of your business?
Yeah, super great question. I think I always joke that I am the least competent coach out of all of us as well too. I'm just famous because I have my face everywhere on YouTube as well too on social media. Our coaches are phenomenal. I go to them for questions. So what people don't see behind the scenes is when I have questions, I'm like, huh. I ask our own coaches. Like it used to be, maybe I was training a few folks. Our little trick now, we just find the best as well too. And there, so coaches that just love to coach, but again, some of them, hey, maybe the marketing side's not for them or the sales is not for them, but they just love working with their students. They have a phenomenal, our coaches get students consistent to the Ivies and these top 25, top 50 colleges year after year. I'm like, hey, how about we partner up as well too with that as well too. So and we just retrain them in our system. And we send them to train, like I think the next month we're sending them all to we're part of I think pretty much majority of the college accreditations out there as well too. So we send our coaches routinely to all to keep the knowledge updated, any policy changes as well too. Our coaches usually find out stuff before the public knows, like a week or two. Usually it's pretty cool. So we kind of share it with our families there. And I think so that's why college content, why our coaches are phenomenal with their trainings there. The difference would be the personality. I think that's kind of where our coaches all differ, which is on purpose, is that some students want a more direct coach. Tell me what to do,
Yeah.
right? Some coaches are like, if something's bad, tell me nicely, or else I'm gonna cry as well too. So we have that. We have coaches that I joke as like our mini therapists for our students because all they do is just talk about things that happen that way too. So I think every coach is phenomenal in their way. So that's why there's certain group of students that react. Like for me, I need a just tell me straight up. If something's going wrong, let me know. I don't need time to beat around the bush as well too. But again, some kids will cry
Yeah. Oh,
if
for
a coach
sure.
says, "Hey, you gotta get your act together," and they'll burst out cry. Versus like, "Hey, we're almost there. We're almost there. We need to improve a little bit here as well too." So again, I think that's what differentiates our coaches, which is in a good way for us. But skill wise, they're all phenomenal. They all have specialties in different areas too. One of our coaches has, like for example, one of our coaches is a BSMD specialist, which is like an accelerated medical program, which is one of the getting med school is hard, right? But this is an accelerated medical program as well too. So she's a byproduct of it. She's a doctor, and she guest coaches every single week for our students. So we have that. We have engineers. We have coaches from MIT who are in our program who help coach students. Yeah, again, I always joke that when you put me against our coaches and their resumes and their backgrounds, like I'm like little P next to all of them as well too. Yeah,
That's a good position to be in. Surround yourself
for
like
sure.
that. If you talk to a student that probably couldn't join the program right now, but you were going to give them one simple, just a reset routine or just a quick piece of advice to help set them on the right path, what would you tell them?
Time management is probably the most important key in high school as well too, because it's gonna snowball into college. What I mean by that is that most students feel they're so busy. And I always say, are you good busy or are you not good busy? What that means as well is that you seem busy, but when I pull the questions that I usually ask for students, I'm like, oh, you're missing like there's a lot of things that are missing in your app still that we could, if you're truly busy, everything should be filled up, I would say, right? So for example, when it comes to like a schedule. What I tell students to do, the first thing is audit. So basically, I think I learned from somewhere, but basically every 30 minutes, do a alarm for 1 week, right? Map out literally everything you've done, you're doing that 30-minute slot. So from wake up to sleep, for a whole week. And you're gonna truly see, I
What
thought
you
I
were
said I was
thinking.
busy, but I have like 2, 3 hours free every day. I'm just kind of scrolling TikTok or whatever it is that I'm doing as well too, is number one, right? Then how do you plan your schedule correctly? So the first thing I tell students, like have a calendar, old school calendar or Google calendars or whatever calendar software you use, right? The first thing you need to map out is sleeping time as well. No one thinks about this one. They always like, oh, I'll sleep once I'm done with my homework, but they never finish their homework and have to take some. Then they sleep like 2, 3 in the morning, right? And the parents are like, oh, my child's up 2, 3 in the morning. I don't think they have to either. It's just they choose to because a lot of it procrastinate. It's kind of how it is
Yeah,
as a general. So
exactly.
for me, is map out your sleeping time. The second thing you map out, I call it me time. 2 hours a day of just whatever makes float your boat. Scroll TikTok, watch YouTube, Netflix, play a video game. Just 2 hours to be yourself because a lot of our students do run really hard. That if you don't have a mental reset every day, you're gonna burn out. Is kind of how I
Right.
see their schedule as well too. So for me, that's 10 hours gone, right? 8 hours plus 2 hours, but you still have what 14 hours left a day times 7 days. So now you map out school. How much school hours do you have? How much homework do you have to spend doing that? How and your activities now, mapping your activities. And once you do it, you're like, wait, I can squeeze in more hours because once you start seeing it, so I tell students, most students react is kind of why I said you react to your day. Oh no, I have this project coming tomorrow. Oh, I have this tomorrow. Whereas if you knew as well too, I have a test on Friday, which means I should study the Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday to get ready. You don't stress out more. That's why when you look at our students and their schedules, they do so much. You're like, how can they squeeze so much? I'm like, no, and they still have like hang out with friends and hang out for time because they just mapped everything out and just ran with it, right? It's the plan your work your plan strategy as well too. Because I think a lot of it, because again, once you understand that, then the rest of it's easy. Of like, hey, pick these classes because, but then you need the time because usually when people don't focus on time first, it's always like, but Coach Tony, I have no time. I can't take that class. I have no time. I can't do that activity. I have no time. And I'm like, so for me, it's this reset first. Let's figure out how much time you truly have. Some students, by the way, do fully have a full schedule. I'm like, cool, then we got to tweak, right? Whatever is not useful, let's kind of optimize that. But for 90% of students, I would confidently say that you're just not using your time effectively as well too is the key there. And I think one more thing I'll throw in there, like a good mental lesson, is that a lot of families, I just had it because I was talking about this to my parents the other day, but then a lot of people talk about going to a top tier school, but they don't do the work like a top tier school, right? It's like saying, I want to go to Harvard, but I'm scared of AP classes. And I'm
Yeah.
only going to do soccer. That's it, because I only like soccer. And I'm like, you want to go to school with the admit rate less than 5%. That's a lot too. So you're out of 100 people, only 5 people will get in or less, right? And then so you to be that top five, you gotta do top five people behavior instead of being part of 95% is the key. So again, for me, again, I don't think again for us also we're really big on perfect fit for a student, right? So we're not like the go to Iowa, nothing else. There's tons of companies do that. We more respect to them to do that. For us, is what's the best fit for the student because I've done this long enough to know that not every student is meant to go to an Ivy, right? They will get eaten alive if they go to an Ivy
Well, I
level
imagine you
school.
get someone that comes in and they have, these dreams that, oh, I got it. I have to go to this school.
Yep,
But then they learn more about themselves and learn more about other
100%.
opportunities and exposed to different universities. And they say, this is a way better fit for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's a win to me in my mind.
100%. That's kind of our goal as well. So we always say keep ranking top 10, but not top five, meaning, of course, you will love to brag, mom will love to brag, I will love to brag.
Yeah,
So if you go to a top
of
school,
course.
right? At the same time, there's probably five other factors that you probably care more than just the ranking. Because again, when you look up ranking as well, too, the way they do the math is pretty weird. Like, do you care how many Nobel laureates the school has? That's a very big contributing factor, number one or number not, right? So it's one of those like, some of the factors don't matter too much to you, but do you want to stay close to home? You want to go far from home? Do you want a big school? You want a small school? You want a big classroom or a small classroom? What opportunities do
Those are
you
the
want?
things that
What
matter.
hobbies, right? For me, that's what's going to matter more than just the name of the school as well. Because I think the name of the school mattered a lot like 20 years ago when like you went to Harvard, set for life, pretty much, right? For the most part, and you're good to go. But today, if you want to get the Harvard network experience, go on LinkedIn, look up the word Harvard, add everyone, say hello, be a nice person, and then you now have your own network of Harvard friends as
Yeah.
well too. Boom, right away,
Just
right?
so
So I
easy.
think, and especially with AI coming out, and North is out, but it's gonna speed up everything up a little bit as well too. Skill set, and network is gonna be a much bigger. It's always been our two big ones that I tell students you go to college for your skills and your network. that's even bigger now because with AI, the skill side depends which skills now, right? What skills do you have to focus on? Because again, AI is going to do a lot of the things to make it a little faster too. So
Yeah.
understanding that as well.
I work with a lot of, restaurant owners and operators who
Mhm,
hire kids who have college aspirations, right? We hire a lot of high
mhm,
school
mhm,
kids,
mhm.
actually becoming one of the largest parts of the workforce. How do we as managers and supervisors and, just leaders in business help these folks get to the next level personally? Like if I got someone on my team who wants to do this and wants to go to college, how can Tyrell as a owner of a pizzeria support that mission for them?
Yeah, this is super, super awesome. I think that a lot of it is helping the students with clarity. And I think is the biggest one, right? It's talking that I think when we used to work, when I ran a childcare service, we had a lot of college students that worked with us as well too. So it's being consistent, asking them, hey, what their goals are, what their dreams are, and if you can connect them or help them out as well too. We help them. I remember I helped a bunch of our students we had high school like volunteers during summers, the leaders in training, the counselors in training as well too. What we had like a weekly developmental, and for me that was my skill set. So I just talked about college and help that. That's for me. But if not connecting them with stuff, but also just talking to them, I think it's helping them understand what's important as well too. Is I think is the other big one. That a lot of people chase the name of the school, which again, sure, why not? Right? Why not chase the name of the school? But why are we doing that? Because again, it goes back to the why. I think that again, my first kind of answer was the essays are going to be the make it or break it factor. Most students don't know why they're doing something, or they do it because it looks good, because of whatever reason as well too. And in today's world, because is super super competitive in this space as well too, your what's not going to be that special anymore, right? Everyone's what they work at that pizzeria. Tons of kids work at pizzerias. That's all too, right? So besides is that's the what's the same, which is fine. That's what you did. The key for me is why. Why are you working there? What's the motivation behind it? Are you saving money for your college apps? Because hey, you know that that's gonna cost money as well too.
Yeah.
Or for other reasons as well. Are you doing it to maybe they're entrepreneur in nature, right? They want to work here to have like a stable income to start their own side business
Hmm.
as well too. So I think for me, it's just kind of helping them out with the clarity factor and just sharing the wisdom with them is the key. I would say that I think as we are, I don't think any adult's perfect yet, right? But we've probably lived more years than a lot of our younger ones did. So it's just sharing. Here's what I've learned is what it is as well too.
Yeah.
Uh, is the key, kind of letting them kind of come to their own conclusions on things as well.
Is it a myth that college isn't important anymore?
I my so this is me as a college admissions person, right?
Yeah.
I don't think college is for everyone. Is number one. That being said, a lot of like that, there's no way to be a doctor without going to college. There's
And
no way to be a lawyer that goes. So there are certain industries that make sense, right? Hey, you want to do this? That's the prerequisite for that, right? But then I think in our sphere of friends, maybe a network, a lot of our friends are entrepreneurs, right? And because they're entrepreneurs, do you need a college degree? Not really to be an entrepreneur, right? Maybe if you want to be a C-level person or something, maybe, right? And then you go to the MBAs and stuff like that and get that degree to help you with that. But I think it depends on the student, depends on stuff. I've told a student straight up many times that like, hey, because you see their profile, right? Grades, they're okay. They're not the greatest student, but you see they built this little thing and it's doing like a few thousand a month. I'm like, wow, as a high school student, you're doing that, all right? And that's like that little fraction of time as well, too, right? And you can tell all their stuff is that they don't get excited about anything else besides like, the little mini business or what they're doing. And the way they think is all entrepreneur. I'm like, hey, why not try a year? Go off, try and make it work. You can always come back. That's the other thing. Also, people feel like you have to go to college right after as well. So you can always come back to community college after, right? That's always gonna be there for you. You can always get your degree anytime, right? And then there's no one path in life. Like it's not like you have to go to college right after as well too is the key. But then so for students who are, you can tell that you're definitely way more entrepreneurial than you are like a more traditional like college pathway thing. I'm like, hey, you consider it. And then I'm not saying do it because again, I don't want
well,
to tell them to
everyone's
do
not
something.
meant to be an entrepreneur either, right? Just like a college student.
100%. There's people I call them entrepreneurs. They would want you to be a entrepreneur, but you can tell also like, I think you're just doing it to try to look good or try whatever. Probably don't have the drill for it. Is the key as well. So yeah, so for me is it for everyone? I don't think it's for everyone. I personally met many students every single year that I've told them, hey, well, like here's my 2 cents. Like, take it, leave it. Whatever. That like I think your child might want to consider just try for a year. Because again, if it fails, they can always go back. There's nothing wrong with it. It's like take a gap year, right? Take a gap year as well too. Take a gap year, try it out, and then if it doesn't work out, then come back in, and then you do it as well too. Is a thing. But even to that point as well too, like I've done several things in my life that like the first one didn't work out either, and then you fail, and the entrepreneur will keep stepping up. That's I think I've learned that is a difference, right? I think you mentioned the pizza stuff, and at times it's a struggle, but then the true entrepreneurs, they'll figure out a way to make it happen versus like, oh man, this is against me, this is against me, this is not working as well too, as when it'll feel like a job versus like, it's the problem solving, right? I think that we're all like professional problem solvers is kind
Yeah.
of what
I think a great student has the same qualities too. You have to figure
mm-hmm,
things out. You know what I
100%.
mean? And make adjustments. I love that. And is it
Yeah,
ever too? And also, is it ever too late? Someone who's been out of high
100%.
school for a couple of years, is it too late for them?
That's a great question. So I'll answer the second question first. I'll answer the first one. So is it
Yeah.
too late? No, depending on what your goals are. I think there's always a way to make it happen. Hey, I graduated with the GED a long time ago. I want to consider going back to college. Cool. That's super awesome, right?
But when I seen your shirt, then I got it.
Yeah, so it's the word college backwards. So you just go to eagleoff.com. You can book a free call. Again, our goal, again, I mentioned that our goal is to help as many families as we can is the key. So all of our calls, they're going to be just coaching calls first, is kind of how we do all of our calls. Like we just want to help you first. And then we'll let you know, hey, we're a good fit because of XYZ, or hey, we not be maybe the best fit, but we know these other guys that might be a better fit for you guys as well to consider. But we just want to give you guys a coaching call because for a lot of families, they just don't know. They don't know, hey, are we on track? Are we not on track? What do we need to do? Check that out and then book a free call with our team, and then we'll let you guys know. Again, like I always joke that I'm a terrible salesperson, so I don't know how to make people feel weird about buying as well too. So it's like, hey, here's our program, here's what I do, is the key. But again, a lot of families do enjoy working with our team, so yeah, we're very proud of that.
And you can find tons of content on every platform, from TikTok to Instagram, Facebook, and including YouTube. A lot of good stuff, a lot of great value out there. Thank you so much, Coach Tony, for coming here and sharing your story with us, and really just giving us a little bit of hope when it comes to getting these kids into college. I'm excited. I think my kids may have a chance now. I'm kidding. They're good kids. But I think it's I like what you said. Just really setting some intention, building routines, time management. Those things are so important, and they all translate into what we do as leaders in our own pizzerias and other businesses as well. So thank you so much for joining us today. If there's any other advice or anything you like to give, the floor is yours, my friend.
The last thing I always say is lead with why, right? I think that's hopefully that's been the message this whole time, and that's kind of the big takeaway for anything, pretty much, right? What students apply to summer programs, scholarships, us, even afterwards, right? Trying to get an internship later on, trying to do impress on your job interview and stuff. The what's we live in a world where the what's can be so commoditized that like everyone does the same things nowadays. So what makes you truly different is your why. So as long as you approach everything with the why intention first, why am I doing this? Why is this important to me? As long as it's not look good for college, that's kind of my only no, don't do that. But any other reason pretty much is good to go. So start with your why. I think everything kind of happens naturally as we
Bye. Thank you, Coach Tony. It's been a really good conversation.
awesome. Thanks, Ariel.